Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 6 of our NASCAR 25 career mode. Yes, we return this weekend here to Kansas Speedway, of course. If you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Talladega, go back, check it out. Talladega is normally quite a crazy race, and it's safe to say that this series lived up to the hype. But more importantly than that, we bagged our first ever win in the ARCA series as well, picking up some very well-earned reputation and some very well-earned championship points as well. It is still William Sawalich, though, at the top of the table, 207 points from his 2 wins so far of the campaign. Isabella Robusto, though, very consistent, now up into second ahead of Brendan Queen. I apologise, again, you guys are telling me that I'm pronouncing names horrendously badly, so I believe it's Tyler Reif, not Reef. And then it's like Andy Jankowiak instead of Andy Jankowak. But I'm going to try my best at getting more of the pronunciations correctly. But yeah, a massive thank you to everybody for their continued support on this series as well. You know, at the time of recording, we're almost at 1,500 subscribers already. I was never expecting that kind of support. You know, I am just a European who's trying to jump into the NASCAR world, but I am having a lot of fun with it as well there. But yeah, heading though to Kansas this time around, of course it is just one of your kind of standard 1.5 milers this series, so these are the kind of tracks that I feel are probably still my weakest. I guess obviously Bristol went alright. I think obviously we will have Martinsville on the schedule later on towards the end of the season as well. We've got Lime Rock coming in a couple of races time. That one I'm also very excited for. But do we have... Yeah, there we go. Martinsville, of course, is the penultimate round of the season as well. So I feel like ARCA, again, gives you a good kind of idea as to, you know, whether, you know, kind of where your strengths lie, where your weaknesses are, where we need to improve. But before we head, though, out to Kansas, we've got a few other pieces of information. We've got a new opportunity. We've got some options to choose from. Driver coaching or a school appearance. So we can either get $2. I think, honestly, at the moment, we need the rep. Because, obviously, I want to try and make sure that we're into the truck series ready for next season. So I'm going to take the school appearance. The kids loved you. The kids were thrilled when you showed up in a real race car. The automotive head said they've never had so many kids fighting to sign up. I absolutely love that. So yeah, inspiring the younger generation to pick up stock car racing as well. Maybe just don't show them some of the moves I did at Talladega. Otherwise, they'll be learning bad habits. But yeah, we need to obviously get the car all repaired up as well. So I'm going to listen to John's recommended repairs there and get everything all sorted back on the car. We have got a pretty good car when it's all sorted out as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And Dart wants to sponsor us. Mighty Dart, I know you're watching. Thank you. Thank you for sending us the money. $2,275. So, yeah, we will take that one on and obviously get a lot more cash money for it. But we do need to start getting top 20s if I want to get some extra incentives as well there. So, lots going on, though, as we get to 1/3 distance this season. But I think we're ready for Kansas, though. So, let's just head on out there.
We welcome you to Kansas Speedway. Get ready to feel the thunder now as engines roar to life. The best drivers in the world battle it out on this fast and fierce 1.5 miles per hour.
Well, heading back out then onto yet another new circuit this season. I don't really think I've got much experience at all of racing at Kansas out on iRacing. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a trial by fire. As seems, I feel like I say that most videos inside this series as well, but I don't want to immediately move up into the line of anybody else there, but obviously fairly high banking around this track as well, and I don't think you're going to be quite wide open on the throttle, but you're not going to be a million miles away, as I believe this is already William Sawalich. Oh, no, that's not the button I wanted. I wanted to try. There we go. You guys have been telling me I need to mess around with the MFD a bit more inside this game. So that is exactly what I'm going to try and do then. But a 34.6 second goal. I mean, we are pretty much wide open through turn 1 and turn 2 there. It's just, of course, if you end up in the slipstream, tucked up, obviously, maybe in the draft, losing a bit of front end downforces. There you go, immediately washing up high to hopefully cut back down low on the exit of the corner. LeVar Scott, though, apparently one to watch this weekend, so seemingly, yeah, we're getting more and more drivers that might spring a surprise. And immediately, I've gone and completed our objective. I'm going to stay out a little bit longer, because apparently Sawallich is already down on a 33-1. Let's see what we can do this time around. That is going to be a 33-4, so yeah, we're not too far away. Of course, it's always the case in NASCAR that normally you'll go out and, like, you'll... Oh, Christ, losing my hand off the wheel, that's not good. Rather not do that in the races. But yeah, normally, obviously, because of the way the tyres degrade and everything like that, your fastest lap is going to be one of your first flyers. And then after that, it does very much become about race management. Some of you guys have been saying you'd like me to do 2 videos an episode. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll kind of see how we get on through the next few rounds. But then I might bump it up as well. As I mean, yeah, we're just smashing through the objective. We're setting good, consistent lap times. I think we're ready for qualifying.
Time to go, buddy.
Well, I don't quite think we're going to be able to put this one on pole this time round. Obviously, out at Talladega, we're comfortably the fastest car in practice by about 0.3 of a second. We seem to be in the mix, though. And obviously, now I kind of know a bit more as to what I'm expecting. We should, yeah, be able to fight throughout qualifying today. So, you know, if we can get more consistent kind of top 10s, things like that. I don't know whether we're going to be able to beat William Sawallich to the championship. I think it will kind of depend on his performances as much as it will mine. But obviously, if we can chalk up a few more victories, everything like that, you know, the big goal, of course, is always try and obviously move up to trucks. But if we can win an ARCA championship as well, get that on our resume, I would be very, very happy, as of course it is just a 1-lap qualifying session. Flip the car in at the 2 cones there, slight blend of throttle to make sure it digs into the apex there. And you can see how much steering lock we're running. Luckily, these tyres don't have to go too far, so we can take absolutely everything out of them on this run. It's again kind of using those 2 cones as my rotation point there. Oh, just drifting up though through the transition of 3. Of course, you don't have to be as cautious of the wall on the exit as the circuit arcs back round through the D. And there you go, 33.479. So we did go quicker than we ran in practice. P12 though, not bad, not fantastic though. As again, championship leader Sawallich on the pole, no surprises there. And Brendan Queen and LeVar Scott will make up your top 3. Lawless Allen, they're up in 4th spot as well, so he's done very well. And that was actually the car we were chasing in practice as well. But yeah, watch out for Isabella Robusto, because she's been very, very consistent so far this campaign. I think she's done quite well on both of the super speedways as well. And I don't think we've got another one. Have we got one more super speedway race this season? I honestly can't quite remember off the top of my head. But it's nice to be pretty close to the front now. But I think we're going to need a couple more upgrades if I want to be right at the sharp end. Anyway, though, it's race time here from Kansas for the Tide 150.
Let's go trackside now for the command to start this ARCA Menard Series race. Drivers, start your engines!
Well, here we are then, out at Kansas. The Tide 150 about to go green. Oh, yeah, for some reason, you just get forced first gear off the launch. So it's basically a question of try to get up into second as quickly as you possibly can. But, yeah, everybody then on the inside, including Cleetus McFarland, has made their way through then. And we are all the way down to P16 immediately off of the bat. I've got to make sure that we don't lose too much ground to the cars ahead of me, as I want to make sure that I get that MFD up. So obviously we can see who is around us then, as Van Alst immediately trying to have a look to my outside. But we shouldn't be able to get to the end on fuels, so we're going to have to wait and see if we get some cautions today. Obviously, like we saw at Talladega, if it runs green, people have kind of got to pit right towards the very end. But I wonder if you could try and stretch the mileage as well. Obviously, this circuit you will have to lift, especially later on in the stint. So if you can just be a bit more gentle with her, and maybe obviously manage the fuel, you might just be able to stretch it. We'll have to wait and see. As immediately getting back closer to Clayton Leister. And yeah, there is obviously Cleetus, one of the biggest names of NASCAR automotive YouTube, I think it's safe to say. I'm certainly not going to suddenly claim he's one of the biggest names in stock car racing, but I think it's safe to say he's pretty well known as well there. I was completely unaware of him until Gary mentioned him to me a few weeks ago when we were playing F1. And yeah, been completely kind of taken aback by what he's been able to achieve so far. But immediately then trying to get down the inside of Cleetus. It's a battle of the YouTubers as we make our way in towards turn 3 and 4. And maybe his multi-million subscribers there versus my 1,400 or so. I think I don't fancy our chances in that regard. But 3 laps already ticked off then. We seem to be able to maintain good speed here. As now getting closer to Tyler Rife once again. I think, of course, as long as we can try and get back inside your top 10 nice and quickly, that's going to be the main goal. But we are going to be so tight on fuel. I think that is honestly going to be the big question today. Is how, obviously, if you can stretch that fuel, if you can save the number you need to, you're going to be able to do, you know, is it a bit of a cheap trick if I can try and no-stop this race? You guys were telling me, obviously, that normally ARCA races you do have to pit at least once. I have got the tyre wear set to 2x, so it's not quite kind of scaled in line with the 25% race distance. But let's be fair, in a 25-lap race, we don't want to have to pit twice, do we? Otherwise, it's going to all come down to cautions. And apparently the AI can be a little bit OP when it comes to cautions anyway there. As you can see, your top 3 having a bit of a battle up at the front. But trying just to coast the car in as best as I can. We are saving a little bit of fuel, though, early on. I don't know how accurate the estimation is. But we are only now just 2 laps short there as well. Having a look down the inside through the dogleg. And we get past back in towards someone there. Big lift and coast as we move up into unlucky P13. But goes to show when you've got some upgrades on these machines as well, just how much kind of more stable and better they are. I didn't expect the upgrades to make this big a difference inside the game, but now you can clearly see, you know, I look back at Phoenix early on, and you can kind of understand and appreciate how some of the guys there were so quick in that race as well, as we are definitely saving a little bit of fuel, only a little bit lap by lap, and I kind of feel like unless the AI pits with enough time to spare, maybe some of them will stretch it like they attempted at Talladega. Only time will tell, but closing in then on Amber Balkian as we try and recover to where we started in this race. I do hope, yeah, that iRacing team and the NASCAR team obviously fix those starts, because it is rather annoying constantly getting screwed over, because obviously the AI can do stuff that you certainly can't. Oh, up against the wall there, though. That's not ideal. As you can see now, we are less than 2 laps under on the fuel estimation. I don't want every race to come down to fuel mileage, but I don't mind every once in a while a race coming down to fuel, as I think we've definitely got a quicker car than where we're running at the moment. So we'll try and do the old get underneath the 22, try and take a bit of air off of their rear wing as we make our way down the back straight. I don't know if that's a cheap trick or whether it's something that kind of is commonly done because it's kind of what you need to and part of the strategy of the game. As there we go, we have cleared the 22 and we can continue on trying to fuel save. Let's aim for a top 10. Of course, we have seen quite a few cautions in recent races as well, so obviously if we get a single caution, then all of my fuel saving is going to be for naught, and then we're going to have to really try and push late on in the day here. I'm not sure. Talladega doesn't seem to be too bad early on. We seem to be able to keep the car kind of exactly where I want it for the most part. Again, I would assume like the upgrades help with the tyre wear a bit more, as we're down to 75%. Obviously, pretty much every single week it's going to be that front right that takes an absolute beating in this series, of course, because, well, as much as I don't want to play into some of the stereotypes, it is all left-handers. you cannot argue with the fact that most of oval racing is just left-hand turns there. But trying to get a run now on P11 here. Isabella Robusto, very, very consistent throughout the early races. And he's going to be one of those drivers as well that we need to try and get the jump on. As we try and cut down low, as Robusto there is going to give me a big old squeeze. We wash up back towards her off the exit of the corner, but now we should get a nice draft as we head down the backstretch as well. There is, I think, Sawolic up at the front. Obviously, he won't be able to save as much fuel because he's not going to have any draft to try and work with until he can close up to the back markers once again. But this is often where things get a little bit scary. It's just trying to manage the throttle through the exit of that final corner, across the strip once again to the outside. Whoa, Robusto's been put myself in the wall. That was not ideal. And Robusto will hang on this time around then. Nothing, it wasn't her fault. That was just me being a bit of a moron. Let's try and again get the run down the back stretch. That Mobil 1 car does look fantastic as well. That 55 ride. Let's just try and get a little bit more throttle on the way into the corner. Get to that inside, and if you can get the car fully alongside, just with the way the banking works around here, able to obviously maintain the momentum off of the corner. But all those fights, they just take a bit more out of the fuel tank. As you can see, we've got 10 laps still to go at the moment. But yeah, I mean, we are definitely saving a little bit. There's Laney Buse just up next then. Is it Buse? Is it Busey? I'm not entirely sure, but we are getting super close to being able to stretch this fuel. As now, especially with more lap traffic, things are going to get quite spicy very, very quickly here. It's out of turn 4 once again. I mean, if you can just get the draft and obviously carry the run back over the line, you're in a very, very good spot there. As we basically now need to save 1 lap's worth of fuel. Who's that on the outside? That is the number 5 car. Well, as we're going to wash up the racetrack, that's going to take a fair bit out of the tyres as well. As you can definitely see now, more cars just in front of us. There is a bit of correction on the wheel off of the corner. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Becca Monopoly, really struggling, and we're going to run right up, lean on her through the entrance of turn 3. But look at this run then. Oh, we're going to have to give Busey a big push up over the start-finish line there, as didn't fancy trying to make that 3 wide there, but you can definitely see how much these lap cars cost. Big old shove coming in then, but Busey again. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide down the backstretch. I still am struggling a little bit with kind of the finer precision inside this game. I know they are bringing more and more force feedback updates, and I will have to do an updated video in the not too distant future. But up then into the top 10 we will go as we get towards 2/3 distance here, and again you can just see how much some of these slower guys are struggling. Down to the inside of the 96. I mean, yeah, a lot of these guys, I mean, they're just out there to try and see if something crazy happens. Obviously, I'm well aware about how the lucky dog works as well in NASCAR, but I don't know if kind of that applies in NASCAR 25. Do all of the guys that are a lap down get their lap back? I don't really know there, as EJ Tamayo struggling as well a little bit through that corner. But yeah, apart from all the lap cars at the moment, it doesn't look like we're really going to get a caution here. So will everybody be trying to make the fuel work? Or are we still going to hopefully gain a big advantage? Oh, there we go. Immediately a wreck. Immediately a wreck. Where are they going? Ugh, get down. Oh, no, I've binned it. No! The autopilot's binned it. I don't know if we've got damage from that. I think we've got a pit, haven't we? We will pit. I want 4 tyres. And I think we only need, yeah, half a can of fuel, don't we? I think we're going to lose quite a few spots there. But what is that? The AI just... I mean, I got down below the apron to avoid the wrecking car. And just the AI put me in a wall. We're down to 27th. So I've lost a huge amount of spots, as apparently I'm just revving the car absolutely out. Can I immediately get up to 2nd gear? No, I can't. So we might lose even more then, as I believe we are still on the lead lap. But obviously with fresh tyres now, hopefully we're going to have a big advantage. But only 4 laps to try and do it towards the end of the afternoon. And obviously with everybody getting a good restart, we are going to need the laps of my life here towards the end of this tied 150. But surely all eyes are going to be honest, because I don't believe anybody else has pit. Dale Quarterly, they're struggling immediately. And look at the run we've got. I mean, this is not uncommon in NASCAR. If you take a big gamble like this, the advantage you can have can be so huge that it's like you're racing in a completely different series. Trevor Hulston trying to throw in a bit of a block, but we will get down below the apron just to try and make sure that we can maintain as much speed as we possibly can. As long as we can recover, you know, back towards kind of a top 15 or something, I'll be quite happy. As anybody that wants to block my path will feel my wrath towards the end of this race. There's Brad Smith. I'll give him a little bit of a wave as we go past her. Of course, our Daytona winner. But look at the speed we've got down this back stretch there. And so much more confidence into the corners. 2 more laps to go, though, here from Kansas. And I'm just praying that we don't get another wreck. As I mean, we're able to carry kind of 10, 15 miles an hour more off of the corners. And, well, if we finish higher than 10th, this was actually probably a good choice. There goes Cleetus McFarland. Everybody just trying to stay out of trouble. Back in towards turn 1, of course. I believe all the lapped cars are out of the way as well. So we obviously don't have to contend with any of those. So every position we gain now is, you know, an actual position in this race. Every car we get past is all Robusto spots us there and is going to try and cut down low. But we will have the speed to get around or outside. And surely, yeah, we're going to gain from this. when all is said and done. Cut down the middle of Amber Bulkian as well. There is Cole Raz in that 9th spot. How many more, though, can we gain on this final lap? As I believe it is still Sawalich that is leading this race round the outside of Laney. Oh, definitely can't leave it quite fully flat. And we will scrub off speed on the exit of the corner there. That's going to give Cole Raz a bit of a run down this backstretch to my outside. But we have still made a net gain from this pit stop here. Can we get a run on Laney at the final corner to the outside of the 2? Oh, we will get right on her door, but it's going to be racing back to the line, bumping and bashing with Laney. Will we be able to get the speed? It is only P9. What a race, though, here from Kansas. That one got incredibly exciting right towards the end, as 9 thousandths of a second in it between myself and Laney there. But William Sawalich hangs on at the front, ahead of Brendan Queen and LeVar Scott there. That really got the heart rate going. Will Kimmel will finish in 4th, just ahead of Lawless Allen, as Jake Finch now really beginning to struggle at this stage of the campaign. So, yeah, I mean, with that caution, of course, it meant that the AI didn't need to pit. So, obviously, all that fuel saving might have been for naught anyway. But it would have been really interesting to know whether they were going to pit anyway. But I think we gained 18 spots in those last 3 laps. I don't think I can complain about that too much. Well, there we go. They're not quite gaining as much rep, of course. I don't know whether different tracks kind of give you more reputation inside this game. Of course, Talladega, you know, a big event. And obviously the Kansas race, the Tide 150, maybe not so prestigious inside this series. But 1200 rep, again, obviously we're gaining a lot more by being more consistent, backing those top 10s and everything like that. And obviously meeting our incentive goals as well. And here we go then. Caleb Costner showing us some respect. Great drive today. Todd Souza as well. Lots of respect there. And Laney Busey. Our cars are pretty tough, but that's no excuse to be banging around like that. I feel like she dealt out as much as she got there towards the end, so she's only got herself to blame as well. The long road for Sawalich at Kansas as the calm settles over Kansas. The winner of the Tide 150 was one of the last faces at the racetrack. Trophy in hand, the driver of the 18 could only smile as we were able to get an interview. 3rd win of the year for Sawalich. He is just dominating things at the front in that JGR car. There we go then, obviously making sure that we pick up all those championship points and pick up a bit of cash as well for our troubles. Let's take a look at everything else going on. Again, the car seems fairly beaten up. Luckily, I think that wreck earlier on didn't actually do any extra damage to the car as well there, so I guess that's always good to know. Where does that mean we are, though, in the point standings? We are still in 6th spot, 8 points back from Tyler Reif as well, as Brendan Queen there back ahead of Isabella Robusto as well. But of course, yeah, I'll do all of like the upgrades and stuff at the start of next episode, because we're going to be heading back. Finally, North Wilkesboro is on the calendar, and I've never driven that track, I don't think. So I'm really looking forward to it. An old classic finally returning to the ARCA series. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon. Ready? Yeah. I keep getting questions about this, actually, quickly. This series is going to be daily for, like, as long as I can. So if you don't have to worry if there's going to be a video today, I'm planning on pumping them out as long as you guys keep enjoying them.